My favorite storage solutions are the ones that I make myself and don't cost me anything because I use stuff that's just sitting around my sewing machine. Yesterday I made this wall organizer and I'm going to show you how I did it. Super easy. So I wanted to find something I could store my quilt rulers in. I have these giant ones, these round ones, little tiny ones. So I grabbed these scraps of cotton muslin, I have my pins, and a little marker. Because I was making this specifically for this big square ruler, I wanted to use it as a template. I took this cotton fabric and I pinned it to exactly the size and shape that I needed to fit that big quilting ruler. And then I just pinned where it needed to sit on the larger piece of fabric. And I just happened to have this measuring tape trim to use. I took the pocket fabric that I'd cut to size and I folded just 1/4 of an inch over at the top and pressed it. And then I took the trim, and rather than sewing the trim on at the end, what I did is I actually used it to hide the hem. So the fabric is actually folded to the front, and then the trim goes right on top, and I'm going to stitch right along the top and right along the bottom. And the whole thing turns out super clean. Then I just went back around the 3 other sides, did a really easy, again, about 1/4 of an inch hem, twice over and stitch down. It's a little bit thick. That's actually okay because it gives you some pocket. So once it was stitched, I put it back onto the original fabric, looked at where I'd make those little marks, and made sure that that big ruler fit just barely, so I knew I had to stitch down right on the very sides. I'm also going to just cheat those edges in just a little bit to give it a little bit of room. So for this, I don't use pins a ton, but I definitely wanted to pin it knowing it needed to be in the right place. And again, I'm going to cheat those top corners in just a little bit to give it a little bit more room in the pocket as I pin it. And I'm going to check that that ruler fits just one more time. And that pocket's done. Just trim those threads, make sure that piece fits. It does just snugly. And then I'm going to repeat the process again with the other little pockets that I want to make. And this pocket at the top, I'm just going to put in a little tiny pleat. I'm just going to sew it in when I sew the pocket on, just so that I can fit some slightly bigger items. So here it is with the rulers, but then I decided I wanted to put in my vintage patterns instead. And some vintage trims. How cute is that rickrack? And I added a couple little grommets at top.